You know, ever since Craig Ferguson took over the Late Late Show from Craig Kilborn in the early 2000s, I've been a big fan of American late night television. And so I subscribe to all these different channels and different shows. I just like the concept, although I think Jimmy Fallon is shit. I think Jimmy Kimmel's shit. I think James Corden is shit. And Stephen Colbert is just kind of alright. Craig Ferguson was great at it. To me, he was on par with Graham Norton. And Jonathan Ross used to be alright. These are the UK ones, but yeah, I love Ferguson. Anyway, on the Stephen Colbert's Late Show, which was previously hosted by Dave Letterman, which should have went to Craig Ferguson, but it didn't. Anyway, I'm going to get off that. Hank Azaria was talking about the character Apu. Okay, now in this interview, he said that he might walk away from the character. He was going over the concerns recently that have come to light. See, when I reflect on Apu, I think Thank You, Come Again, I think Hindu, I think Family Man, and I think Businessman. He's certainly not a character that's portrayed in the worst light. He has a lot of positive aspects to his character. Now, yes, stereotype is woven into the silly string fabric of The Simpsons. But he's been given substantial development over the years, and if we compare him to another character, one that's a bit closer to home for myself, Groundskeeper Willie, we can see a bit of a bit of difference here. Groundskeeper Willie is, before I get into this, it reminds me of a statement that I first heard from Sargon of Akkad, this whatabouterism. What I'm about to do might sound like a whatabouterism. I'm taking the issue of a poo and then I'm putting up front instead Groundskeeper Willie. Okay, now what I mean to do here is show a comparison based on in the context of the same show. But the term whatabouterism was first really used in reference to the Troubles. And the Troubles is what we call the conflict in Northern Ireland, with the desire for the certain Northern Irish people to liberate the country from British rule. I just find that so trivialising though, calling it the Troubles. It sounds like a low tier indie circuit tag team, in a wrestling kind of match, the Troubles. It just doesn't sound like something that describes the deaths of over 3,600 odd people, but there you go. Maybe in the sober daylight it's a bit more profound. Anyways, Groundskeeper Willie is a drunkard. There's a quote here, right? He's a drunkard. He's bagpipe playing, kilt wearing, Nessie wrangling, tactless, aggressive, weirdo school janitor. That's just my description. The quote's this: he is a Scotsman with an aggressive temper. He is an uncouth, unpleasant, though essentially harmless character. His personality is depicted as being incompetent, quick to anger for little or no reason, slow-witted, and a heavy drinker. The Times reported in late 2005 that he is the most instantly recognisable Scot in the world, better known than Billy Connolly or Ewan McGregor, even Sean Connery. This must have been before the success of people like James McAvoy and Gerard Butler, who would probably be more recognisable than even Ewan McGregor and Sean Connery today. But I'll go and accept that, Groundskeeper Willie probably is the most recognisable Scot in the world. Matt Groening says, we wanted to create a janitor that was filled with rage, sort of our tribute to angry janitors all over the world. Now, isn't that a very denigrating view of the Scots? Far more denigrating a view of the Scots than Apu is for South Asians. So what's the issue then? That's what I want to know. What's the issue here? If we look at these two characters, Groundskeeper Willie is of far inferior moral, social, and economic standing. He's certainly not a stand-up character compared to this Apu. So what is the issue? Where's the dividing line? Why are we drawing a line in the sand? Why is there furore over Apu but not Groundskeeper Willie? Is there a comedic apartheid happening here? It would certainly seem so, because when you look online, it is characterised as an issue of race. Is Apu racist? Now that makes no sense to my mind, because my definition of racism is one that denotes a belief in the superiority of one race over another. So the statement Apu is racist doesn't make any sense to me. it's 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 true that cartoons and animations can be created by racists to contain racially insensitive content to perpetuate racist beliefs. But no one believes that's what's happening in The Simpsons with Apu. Apu is a much beloved character. You know, when Hank Azaria said that he would leave the role if necessary, it's just, it beggars belief because, I mean, if you want to scrutinise it on ethnic grounds, Hank Azaria, the main creative driving force behind the character, originally the writers didn't want to go in this direction, but they found Azaria's uh, take on the character to be quite funny. Hank Azaria is a Jewish comedian, and that adds another texture to this conversation. But what I will say is Groundskeeper Willie is voiced by Dan Castellaneta, which is a Southern Italian name. So is the problem that Apu's being voiced by a Jewish man? Well, Groundskeeper Willie's been voiced by an Italian, but there's no furor over that. You know, they're both equally mismatched behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And just think about it. It's not like any aspiring ethnographer is making The Simpsons their starting and finishing point in terms of a reference text. You know, this is their source of information. Consider the person that's going to be using Apu as a taunt and a tease. Not necessarily a horrible person at that, though, eh? I mean, the character can be referenced by racists, but anything can be referenced by racists. That's without the control of the creators. It's like someone picking up a Bible, you know, like an atheist teasing me and saying, "Ha, this thing justifies slavery." I don't think it does. And I think the unenlightened can use anything to justify their noise. And that's no reflection on the creator. You know, it's sort of like this recent angst, this recent lambasting of Jeremy Corbyn in the press because of the anti-Semitism in the Labour Party. Now, Jeremy Corbyn is not an anti-Semite. He's spoken out against it, and I despise the Labour Party. I despise Jeremy Corbyn even more. Maybe that's too strong a terms, but I'm not a fan. But to blame him for anti-Semitism is just a low, low thing to do. He is not anti-Semitic, and he has done everything he can in his power to weed it out. Inquiry after inquiry, you know, having it looked at independently, third parties, whatever. He's doing it all, and people are saying it's not enough, it's not enough. That's just a really low, low, low argument. You know, to just call someone a racist, to call someone an anti-Semite. I'm not going to do that to my enemies. I'm not going to do that to anyone. It's not something you do. And that's why I hated what they did with Mark Meechan when they said that he made his comedic content intended for his girlfriend, you know, the juxtaposition of a vulgarity with something cute. When he made that, the judge said it was racially aggravated. What the hell is happening? You know, when this fictitious creation of the judge's mind can be brought to bear in a legal court and ratified, made happen, enacted, given life. This insane, insidious evil that's working its way into our culture, we need to weed it out. And it's not hyperbolic and it's not a joke. But you know what is a joke? Apu and Groundskeeper Willie. And if you tell people not to make jokes and not to reference Apu, you enrich the uranium, you weaponise Apu. Listen, the worst thing you can do is tell people, don't say that, don't do that, that's offensive. What? It's the antithesis of a solution. This is what happens in Scotland when people reference Groundskeeper Willie. Okay. That's it, and it's over. It's over just like that. And I'm pretty sure the vast majority of South Asians, when someone says to them, "Oh, hello, come again," they're just like, "Ah, oh, this again. Alright, okay." And that's it. It's done. No one was being offensive. No one was trying to be grossly offensive. No one was trying to be racist, okay? And when a racist does use it, it's the same response, okay? It's don't have a cow, man. It's don't have a cow, man. I mean, here in the UK, it's true, you know, we have all these Scots, Irish, Welsh, English jokes, you know, we're all kind of teasing each other and pulling at each other's legs. That's just part of the banter. But if you suddenly say you're not allowed to make jokes anymore, it's just, it makes it feel like you're walking on eggshells. You know what I mean? It's really not a good thing to do. It's a terrible road to go down. You know, there was this video floating around recently about how to deal with bullying, and the guy's on stage with a girl from the school, I imagine, and he shows you how to deal with a bully. And it is that message of don't have a cow, man. It's ha ha ha. All right, sure, okay. You know what I mean? It's just bouncing it off, you know, and then giving some back. You know what I mean? Like he just gave compliments back or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know, but that's the way to deal with it. You don't inflame it. You don't weaponize it. You don't say you can't say that anymore. You know, we have to have a laugh. You know what I mean? And I'll end on this note here. Let's have Groundskeeper Willie.
It won't last. Brothers and sisters are natural enemies, like Englishmen and Scots, or Welshmen and Scots, or Japanese and Scots, or Scots and other Scots. Damn Scots! They ruined Scotland!
You Scots sure are a contentious people.
You just made an enemy for life!
Such a silly way to portray the Scots, and if he ever thinks he's gonna get away with that, fucking Groning's made an enemy for life.